Hi there, and welcome to the online student orientation. This is going to go over some tips for being a successful online student, and the next video will go over some resources to help you as well. So the first thing is to understand expectations. And so an online class should be the same amount of work as a traditional face-to-face class. So if you're used to the face-to-face setting, just know that it's going to require the same amount of time online as well. So sometimes there's the misunderstanding that online classes are easier or there's less work, but they should be the same. Secondly, and this is a little bit different than sometimes the face-to-face setting, is that you need to have, you may have to learn technology tools. And so you may have different things in Canvas you need to do. You may have to, there's a lot of apps that plug into Canvas that you have to learn, but just know that you should be able to reach out to your instructor to ask them for help with those things, with anything they're requiring you to access. Next, you should still communicate regularly with your classmates and your instructor. So one of the biggest factors in being successful online is not how much of an expert your instructor is in the material, it's how connected you feel to your classmates and your instructor. So some of that is on you, right? So you can go into discussions and connect with your classmates. You can make sure that you communicate with your instructor using all the communication tools available in Canvas. And that way you're feeling like you're still connected and it's still meaningful to you, even though it's online. Being online can be isolating, and so there are things that we can do to make sure that we still feel connected. Next, you should develop habits and systems that work for you and lead to success. So I think all of us are experiencing the challenge of trying to work from home all the time, or balance our work from home with our other work outside of the home, balancing homeschooling children. I know I'm working with that. And so I recommend, and I have developed for myself, systems that work for me, and you'll want to do the same for yourself. So this might mean even scheduling time to do your reading or to do your work online, managing your time effectively. And that can vary depending on what works best for you. It's really important, when possible, to develop reliable workspace and technology. So finding a little corner of your space where you know that you can effectively complete your work. Finding reliable internet service and technology tools. I know that we're doing laptop checkouts through our IT department, and so you can sign up for that. You can make sure that you have, as best you can, regular internet service. We have some resources available to refer you to if you don't have those things. But as much as you can to have the technology that you need will be helpful. I know a lot of students do use their phones for a lot of the online classes, but occasionally sometimes that can be limiting. So as best you can, trying to set yourself up both space-wise and technology-wise to be successful. Next is knowing your learning objectives, your goals, and your resources. So if you know what you hope to learn in the course and why it's meaningful to you academically, personally, and career-wise, you're going to be a lot more likely to feel motivated and invested in the course. So making sure you're clear on that. And then once you know what your goals are, it's important to identify areas in which you might need more support. So do you need tutoring for math? Do you need to go to the Success Center for help with your writing course? So I think that just trying to figure out what works for you. Do you need a counselor to help you, advise you on your overall plan? Also finding your support from your family and your friends, and making sure that you have a clear sense of why you're doing what you're doing, as well as what resources will help you when you need the help. And then developing a study plan is super important. So one is planning ahead, so that if you have a big project coming or a lot of reading coming, that you have an actual plan for how and when you're going to set aside time to address those needs. Creating a calendar system for yourself. So if you know that you have 30 pages of reading, you might even enter it in your calendar. Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. I'm going to work on that reading. Creating to-do lists or to-do lists, checklists, things that help you prioritize what tasks you have to complete. Setting time limits. So maybe you only spend an hour on a project or writing project or a particular thing that you're working on, and then come back to it at a different time. And then making sure that you stay on the schedule that you set for yourself. If the schedule isn't working, maybe you make some adjustments. Asking for help when you need it is really important. So you have your professors, counselors, and tutors here to help you. They're all built into Canvas. There's also a 24/7 Canvas helpline if you're having technical issues. please don't hesitate to reach out early if you have questions, concerns, or a life event. I know that I've taught online for 15 years and English, and I'm now coordinating the online education program. But one of the things that was difficult was when a student was struggling, I couldn't see them face to face. And so I always appreciated when students reached out to me and let me know kind of what's going on, or even if they just had questions. Sometimes your professor might make a mistake, and it's helpful to hear from someone when something's confusing so that we can clarify it. The next thing is to connect with your classmates. So make sure that if you are, needing help or don't understand something, or just have something, you want to say to your classmates, that you connect with them. And you can do that a lot, through a lot of ways in Canvas. So through announcements, discussions, sometimes the chat, depending on what your instructor has set up. There are lots of ways to connect with your classmates, and you don't want that to fall away just because you've moved online. In terms of participating in online discussions, many instructors are going to have online discussions, and so you want to make sure that you participate actively in those. You're going to get out of online discussions what you put into them. So in terms of increased social connection, that's really important, but also just learning from your peers. One of the things I love about community college is that you'll never be in a space with so many people that are different than you, or you're not often in that space, and now that space is online. But making sure that you learn from others and build connections with your classmates, I think that's one of the great things about college, and you can still do that online. Making sure that you're honest but kind when responding to peers, especially when you disagree. So just telling them, that you agree without challenging them, even when you don't, is not helpful to them maybe. If I do peer reviews in my writing classes, and I want students to make sure that they tell their classmates when things aren't working, but that they also are kind about it and offer suggestions for improvement. So making sure that it's meaningful for both of you. And then offer specific examples to support your opinions and suggestions to help your classmates. So if you disagree, or you feel like there's some sticking points, that you make sure that you're constructive and that you back it up with examples and give them suggestions for improvement. It's also harder, I think, to stay motivated sometimes online, especially right now, given the circumstances we're all in. So it's helpful to remember, why did you sign up for this class in the first place? What were your goals at the beginning? And how does it connect to your overall goals for your life or your career or personally? Rewarding yourself after completing challenging tasks. So if you turn that essay in, find some sort of reward that helps you feel like you accomplished something important. Making sure that you are able to take time for yourself occasionally. And creating a study routine and study space when possible in which you feel comfortable, so that you're not uncomfortable the whole time. I'm also a big fan of snacks. So you don't have to do snacks, but I appreciate them. So these are just some basic ways to stay motivated online. And if you have any, I think we're going to go into different types of resources that are available to you in addition to this. But just know that there are resources built right into Canvas, starting with your professor, and going into counseling, library, and other resources here at Chaffey. So we're happy to have you here at Chaffey. We are here to support you, and we wish you well this semester. Thanks for watching.